Take a moment now to settle in. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Notice the gentle weight of your body where it rests, supported, safe, and still. There is nowhere you need to go, and nothing you need to do. Tonight is only for resting. Breathe in slowly through your nose, and breathe out, unhurried, through your mouth. Again, a quiet breath in, and a longer, calmer breath out. As you listen, allow the sounds around you to fade into the background. The world can wait. For now, you are simply here, drifting, listening, and letting go. And when you feel ready, our story today begins at a place that has already finished its work for the day. Our story today begins at the old stone market square. Just as the last light of evening slips behind the rooftops, the day has ended here. Not suddenly, not loudly, but gradually, the way medieval days always did. No bells ring now. No voices call out prices or greetings. The market has gently folded itself closed, like a well-read book set aside until morning. Picture the square as it rests now. Wide, uneven stones stretch beneath the open sky, still warm from the sun that lingered earlier. Wooden stalls stand quietly in their familiar places, their cloth awnings tied back with simple knots. A few baskets remain stacked near the posts, empty now, their woven reeds faintly creaking as a soft breeze moves through. In medieval towns, markets followed the sun. When daylight faded, trade faded with it. There were no lamps bright enough to keep bargaining safe or fair. So when evening came, people packed up, nodded to one another, and went home. You can imagine the last merchant leaving just moments ago. Perhaps a baker, brushing flour from their hands. Perhaps a trader of apples, counting the day's coins before tucking them away. Their footsteps have already faded down the narrow street, leaving only calm behind. The air feels different when everyone has gone. It is cooler now, lighter, as if the square itself has exhaled after a long day of holding voices and movement. A gentle breeze passes through, stirring loose straw near the edges of the stalls. Somewhere nearby, a leaf scrapes softly along stone, then comes to rest. At the center of the square stands a simple wooden scale, used earlier to weigh grain and dried beans. Its metal weights still sit neatly beside it, untouched, waiting patiently for tomorrow. In medieval markets, these weights were carefully guarded, for fairness mattered deeply. Even now, they seem calm, balanced, untroubled. Let your mind rest on that image. Nothing rushed, nothing unfinished, only quiet completion. As you wander slowly through the square in your imagination, notice how your steps feel unhurried. Each one lands softly. There is no need to avoid crowds, no carts to step around, just open space and evening air. Along the edge of the square, a low stone building releases a faint glow from its windows. Inside, a hearth crackles gently as a family settles into their night. The sound is distant, comforting, like a heartbeat heard through walls. In medieval towns, nights were meant for rest. Candles were precious. Sleep followed darkness. The world moved more slowly, and so do you now. A small cat crosses the square, tail held high, paws silent on the stone. It pauses near an abandoned fish crate, sniffs once, then continues on, unbothered, unrushed. Even the animals seem to know this hour is meant for calm. You may notice how your breathing has already begun to match the rhythm of this place. Slow, even steady. Near one stall, a folded cloth still smells faintly of herbs. Earlier today, it held bundles of sage and thyme, tied with twine. Herbal sellers often closed first, their goods best sold fresh in the morning. Now, the scent lingers softly in the air, grounding and gentle. Imagine running your fingers over the rough wood of the stall post. It is worn smooth in places by years of hands leaning, counting, waiting. This market has seen thousands of ordinary days, and ordinary days, when finished, are the most peaceful of all. At the far end of the square, the town's single bell tower rises quietly. It will not ring again tonight. Time here is no longer being measured. It is simply passing, like a slow cloud drifting across the moon. You might find a place to sit now, perhaps on a low stone ledge, still holding warmth from the sun. As you sit, you feel supported, grounded, and completely at ease. Let your thoughts drift the way the breeze does. If a thought comes, let it pass by, just as a merchant once passed through this square and then moved on. Nothing is required of you. The market is closed. The day has done its work. And you, too, are allowed to rest. The quiet here is not empty. It is full of softness, full of calm endings and gentle pauses. Stay here for a while. Listen to the silence between sounds. Feel the slow settling of the night around you. And as the square grows dimmer and the stars begin to appear one by one above the rooftops, your body can sink even deeper into comfort. The world has gone home for the night, and soon, so will you. Very good. Just continue resting where you are. Nothing changes suddenly. The night simply deepens, slowly and kindly. The square grows quieter still, as if the stones themselves are settling into sleep. Above you, the sky has darkened to a deep blue, the kind that feels soft rather than heavy. A few stars peek through, not bright or sharp, but gentle and steady. They seem content to simply be there, watching over rooftops and chimneys. A lantern flickers briefly in a nearby window, then dims. Someone inside has turned down the flame, preparing for bed. In medieval homes, evenings were short. Once the fire was banked and the doors were barred, the day was truly finished. A faint smell of smoke drifts across the square. Not harsh or thick, just a reminder of hearths glowing low, of pots moved aside, of families wrapped in wool and quiet conversation that soon fades into sleep. You notice how the market stalls seem different now in the dark. Less like places of work, more like simple shapes, wooden frames, soft shadows, lines and angles softened by moonlight. Earlier, these stalls were busy. Hands reached across them. Coins clinked. Voices overlapped. Now, they rest. In medieval towns, rest was not wasted time. It was necessary. The body followed daylight, and the mind followed the body. There was no expectation to stay awake longer than the world allowed. As you sit there, you may feel your own eyelids growing heavy, not because you must sleep, but because you are allowed to. A gentle wind moves again through the square, lifting the corner of a loose cloth, then letting it fall back into place. It makes a soft, familiar sound, like fabric shifting as someone turns over in bed. Somewhere, far beyond the square, an owl calls once, low, calm. Then silence returns. The sound does not demand attention. It simply exists, then fades. You can imagine the market earlier that morning, the square waking slowly, stalls opening one by one, baskets placed carefully, goods arranged with quiet pride. But that time is done now, and there is comfort in knowing that everything that needed to happen today already has. A small pile of straw near one stall catches your eye. It was once used to cushion jars of honey. Now it sits forgotten, glowing softly in the moonlight. Nothing here is hurried. Nothing needs fixing. Medieval life was full of repetition. Markets returned again and again. Days followed days. And people trusted that what ended today would begin again tomorrow. You can trust that too. Let your shoulders drop just a little more. Let the muscles in your back loosen. Let your breath grow quieter, slower, deeper. If your thoughts wander, that's all right. Let them wander through this empty square, through these peaceful shapes and shadows. They will grow tired soon enough. At the edge of the market, a wooden cart stands parked, its wheels resting against a stone. It carried vegetables here at dawn. Now it waits, patient and still, as carts often did overnight. Patience was built into medieval life, waiting for light, waiting for seasons, waiting for morning. The night feels long, but not endless. It feels safe. A soft creak echoes briefly as a signboard sways above a closed shop. Then it stops, finding its balance. Even movement here knows when to end. You may begin to feel as though the square is breathing with you. In and out, in and out. The stone beneath you holds steady warmth. The air around you remains calm. The silence does not press in. It simply surrounds. There is nothing left to watch for. No one coming. No task returning. The market has given all it needs to give today. And slowly, gently, your awareness can soften too. Imagine standing now, just for a moment, and walking toward one of the narrow streets leading away from the square. The stones here are smoother, worn by centuries of footsteps. Your own steps are light, almost soundless. A nearby door is bolted shut with a thick wooden bar. Safety was simple and solid. Once inside, people slept deeply, knowing the night was quiet. As you reach the edge of the square, you glance back one last time. The empty stalls, the resting waits, the open sky, everything is exactly as it should be. And as you turn away, the market remains behind you, calm and complete, holding the silence so you don't have to. You are free now to drift even deeper. That's right, just keep resting. The story moves slowly now, almost on its own. You follow the narrow street away from the market, and the quiet seems to deepen with every step. The buildings here lean slightly toward one another, their upper floors nearly touching. Wooden beams crisscross pale plaster walls, darkened by age and smoke. In the medieval world, streets like this were meant to hold warmth, to shelter people from wind and cold. Tonight, they hold stillness. Your footsteps are soft, barely more than a thought. The stones beneath you are uneven, familiar, shaped by countless journeys home, at the end of long days, just like this one. A window above you is open just a crack. From inside comes the faint sound of breathing, slow and even. Someone is already asleep, wrapped in blankets, unaware of the hour. Their rest feels contagious, drifting gently through the night air. A shutter taps once against a wall as the breeze shifts, then settles again. The sound is mild, unimportant, and soon forgotten. You pass a small alcove where a saint's figure stands carved into stone. In medieval towns, these figures watched over streets and markets alike. Candles were sometimes placed here during the day. At night, the alcove remains dark, peaceful, and undisturbed. You pause for a moment, leaning lightly against the cool stone wall. Notice how supported you feel. The wall does not move. The ground does not shift. The night holds everything in place. Your breathing remains slow. Each breath feels deeper now, fuller, as if your body has remembered how to rest without effort. Far off, a dog turns in its sleep and lets out a quiet sigh. Then nothing again. The town feels wrapped in layers. Stone, wood, darkness, silence. In medieval times, darkness was not something to fight. It was accepted, welcomed, trusted. When night came, people went with it, letting the world grow smaller until it fit comfortably around them. You continue down the street, and soon you come upon a low wooden door. It leads into a common hall, now closed for the night. Earlier, it would have been filled with voices, bowls of stew, benches pulled close to the fire. Now, the fire inside has burned down to embers. Through the cracks in the door, a faint orange glow pulses gently, like a slow, steady heartbeat. You do not need to go inside. Just knowing it is there is enough. The smell of wood smoke is softer here, mixed with night air and cooling stone. It feels grounding, familiar, comforting. You may notice that your thoughts are becoming less clear, less sharp. That is a good sign. The mind, like the market, knows when to close. At the end of the street, you find a small, open space, not a square like the market, but a quiet corner where a single tree grows. Its leaves rustle faintly as the breeze passes through. Trees were often gathering places during the day, meeting points, markers of time and season. At night, they simply stand and breathe. You sit beneath the tree now, letting your back rest against its trunk. The bark is rough, but solid, ancient, unmoving. Above you, branches sway slowly, creating shifting patterns of shadow and moonlight. The movement is hypnotic, predictable, gentle. You do not need to watch closely. Your eyes can soften, your focus can blur. A leaf loosens and drifts down, landing quietly nearby. One small sound, then stillness again. The town has fully settled now. No doors open, no carts move, no voices call out. Everything that lives here has accepted the night. You might imagine how people once slept in this town. Simple beds, shared rooms, heavy wool blankets. Sleep came easily after days filled with physical work and fresh air. It was not chased or forced. It arrived naturally, like dusk turning into night. Your body remembers this rhythm, Even if your world is different now, you can feel your muscles softening further, your forehead smoothing, your breath slowing just a little more. There is nothing left in the story that requires attention. Only atmosphere, only calm. The tree above you creaks quietly as it shifts its weight, a sound so old and familiar it barely registers. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell marks the hour, low and muted. One slow chime, then nothing. Time, too, has gone quiet. You may find it harder now to picture details. That is perfectly fine. The story does not need images anymore. It is becoming more like a feeling, a soft, steady sense of being safe, finished, and at rest. The market, the streets, the town, all of it has gently faded into the background. And you can let yourself fade too, drifting toward sleep without effort, without thought, without resistance. That's right. Just stay with the sound of my voice. There is nothing else you need to hold on to. The night feels deeper now, thicker in the gentlest way. The town seems to have settled into a single, shared breath, in and out, slow and steady. You may no longer feel the tree at your back or the ground beneath you quite as clearly. Your body knows how to hold itself. You do not need to guide it. The air grows slightly cooler, and that coolness is comforting. It invites stillness. It encourages rest. In medieval times, nights were long and quiet like this. Without constant light or sound, the senses softened naturally. People listened to the wind, to distant animals, to the subtle settling of wood and stone. And then, without effort, sleep arrived. You might hear something similar now. A soft creak as a roof beam cools. A faint rustle as fabric shifts somewhere behind closed shutters. Sounds that do not ask for attention. Sounds that simply pass through. Your breathing continues to slow. Each exhale feels a little longer than the one before. Each inhale arrives gently, without urgency. The edges of the story begin to blur, just as they should. You are no longer walking, no longer watching. You are simply resting within the quiet the town has created for you. If a thought floats up, notice it briefly. Then let it drift away, like a scrap of cloth carried off by the breeze. There is no need to follow it. The medieval night was trusted. Darkness was not filled with noise or distraction. It was allowed to be empty. And emptiness, when it is safe, is deeply soothing. The market square exists now only as a memory. The empty stalls, the resting scales, the quiet stones, they have done their work. They do not need to be remembered anymore. Somewhere, far beyond the town walls, fields stretch out under the stars. They are still, unmoving, waiting for morning dew. Even the fields are sleeping. Your body may feel heavy now, pleasantly so, as if gravity itself has softened, gently holding you in place. Your hands relax, your feet feel warm, your face smooths completely. Nothing pulls at you anymore. No past, no future, only this slow, quiet moment. The town rests, the night holds steady, and sleep begins to arrive, not as a sudden thing, but as a gradual dimming, like lanterns being lowered one by one. First the edges, then the center, until only a soft glow remains. You do not need to listen closely now. You can let the words become distant, like a voice heard from another room. The story no longer moves forward. It simply settles, and you settle with it, deeper, slower, calmer. If you are already asleep, the story will fade on its own. If you are still listening, that is perfectly fine too. There is no hurry. The market will open again tomorrow. The town will wake when it is ready. For now, everything is exactly where it belongs. Resting. You're doing well. Let everything become even softer now. The night no longer feels wide or distant. It feels close, gentle, like a blanket pulled just high enough to be comfortable. The town has completely disappeared into its own sleep. No edges remain. A first sleep, then a quiet waking, then a second sleep that carried them toward morning. Rest was trusted. However it arrived, you can trust it too. Your body knows exactly what to do now. Slow, natural, easy. The voice you are listening to can fade whenever it wishes. It can simply exist in the background, like wind through distant trees. The night air feels still, but not empty. It is full of quiet assurance. Somewhere beyond awareness, the market stones cool completely. Wood contracts softly. Both are perfectly fine. Sleep does not demand. It invites, and you are already responding. If images appear, let them blur. If sounds linger, let them soften. If thoughts arise, let them dissolve before forming fully. There is nothing left to follow. The story has reached its most peaceful point, not an ending. Silently. And somewhere deep inside, your mind drifts further down, slower and quieter, until even drifting becomes unnecessary. Rest now, fully. Fully. There is nothing more to do. Nothing more to hear. Only sleep. Good night.